Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Norway and we're going to return to a brewery who I first introduced you to on the channel about a year and a bit ago. Must have been about Christmas 2019 or so that I first introduced this brewery to you, but I was quite impressed with the last beer that I had from them, and it was really quirky compared to a number of other things that I'd had before. For this review then we are going to go back to Oslo and we're having a look at my second beer from Eik Tid, Oak and Time if you want to translate that into English. So this particular beer is the Krypto, and it is a 6% sour ale. It doesn't say exactly what kind of sour it is, but it says on the website that this one is supposed to be quite, it's got lactobacillus and Brettanomyces in it, and it's kind of a tropical, fruity sort of flavoured one. So yeah, I'm curious to see what this one has in store for us. The last beer that I had from these guys was the Mosaic, and that was when they were still doing the big, was it 660s or 750s? They had bigger bottles the last time I reviewed the beers, but I guess probably the smaller bottles are letting them get their beer out there a little bit more, and they've sort of, the artwork on the older bottles was really nice actually, but I think having the smaller bottles is probably a lot better from them from a commercial perspective, and hopefully that means we start to get a few more of their beers down here in Sweden as well. But really curious to see how this one turns out. Nice to return to this brewery after a little while, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. I'm very, very curious about this. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Eik Tid before. Hopefully I can add some more at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Norwegian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Eik Tid then, on to my brewery notes. So Eik Tid, as I mentioned to you already, are based in Oslo in Norway, and I do apologise if any of my Norwegian pronunciations in this video aren't quite right. The pronunciation is a little bit different from the Swedish. But the company was founded back in 2016 by Amund Polden Arnesen and Bjorn Harald Ferovik. But Amund worked for a number of years in the alcohol import industry, and he met Björn in this industry as well. But the brewery itself can be found between the Sinsen and Hasle areas of Oslo, and at the moment they're working to open up a tap room in the brewery, and they've just basically been adding more and more infrastructure to the brewery over the last couple of years. But apparently Björn worked for a company that made films, and he discovered this premises while he was on a job with them, and then saw an opportunity to take over the lease when that company had gone out of business. But they apparently brew their beers in a very unique way, in that they don't cook the wort when they're brewing, and they call this raw beer, and so the beer is then left to age in wooden vats, often called fodders, and this is a practice that is done down in Belgium as well, with the likes of the Flanders Reds and the Lambics and things like that. But they've been brewing on a 1,000 litre kit, and they've been using traditional Kveik yeast, which was the traditional yeast from Norwegian Farmhouse brewing. Usually every farmer had their own kind of storage conditions and things, and it was quite likely that the yeast they were using was a mix of all different strains and things like that, and so there was lots of different strains acting in one beer at one time. But apparently these guys have travelled around Scandinavia to find the sort of strangest methods for producing the beer, and they cite this in the Belgian sour beer breweries as being the main inspiration for Eik Tid. And the name of course comes from the fact that to make sour beer you need oak fodders usually, or barrels, and a lot of time actually. But as of March 2020, when I'm reviewing this beer for you, they've produced just over 50 different kinds of beer according to Untappd, and interestingly I saw a post on their Facebook page as well. Norwegian raw beer is now listed as UNESCO World Heritage, so yeah, I thought that was pretty damn cool as well. So Eik Tid, they're really introducing some old school stuff back into the Norwegian beer scene, so yeah, I think that is really pretty cool. I do have another Norwegian sour beer to review for you in a few videos time, Lindholm's Brewery, so I'm really looking forward to having a look at that, because that will be a new brewery on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. But I would love to review some more Norwegian beers for you. We get Lervig and Amundsen quite regularly, but I'd love to review the kind of lesser known breweries, or the smaller ones I should say, in Norway as well. So hopefully I can maybe get back up there at some point and get another batch of Norwegian beers to review for you. Or maybe one of you guys watching, maybe I can send you guys some money and you can mail them down to me or something. That would be awesome. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Eik Tid at the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website, and you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. And if you're interested in the different beers that they do, there are the main ones listed on the website, but it's probably better that you check out Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate for some of the more kind of random ones if you like. But yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. It is pretty plain compared to what it used to be. It would be quite cool, I think. I have to admit, I did like the older artwork better. It would have been nice if they could have scaled that down for the you know, for the smaller bottles, but maybe that's something they will introduce a little bit kind of later if you like. But yeah, you know, it is, in fairness, I have to say that to them, it is quite stylish, but I did like the sort of grey and leafy sort of patterns and things that the older bottle had. So it would be cool if they could bring that down to the little 330 bottles as well. But as I say, this one is a 6% fodder aged sour beer. It said on the website that this one uses lactobacillus and Brettanomyces, and then they add aged hops to this one, because obviously if you use fresh hops with sour beers, then it just kind of overpowers a lot of the oaky flavours and things like that. So it's the sour beers, I always think they're about, it's all about the kind of subtleties and how it's a lot about the mouthfeel and how the flavours kind of blend together for me when it comes to sour beers. But there's kind of a little mini boom, if you like, within the craft beer industry these days for sour beers. There's sour beer breweries popping up everywhere. We've got one back home in Scotland now, Vault City, who are doing some very interesting stuff. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Really curious about this. So, one of the breweries that really kind of got me in to sour beers actually was, you know, it was Brekeriet here in Skåne in the south of Sweden. They do some awesome beers, and ironically I thought this was kind of quite funny that the three guys who started up this brewery, they're brothers, and their family name is Eik, which is oak. So that's one of the things I was thinking about it before I filmed this review, that it's quite funny that probably the best known sour beer brewery in Scandinavia, Brekeriet, their family name is Oak. And then you've got Eik Tid now up in Norway. But yeah, Brekeriet were the ones who really got me into sour beers initially, and then recently, of course, one of my followers who's a great contributor to the channel, Chris Contreras, he sent me a bunch of lambics to review, which was awesome, and that really got me back into the sour beers. I hadn't had them in you know, quite a long time, so really it is thank you to Brekeriet and to Chris that I've started to, you know, make sure that I review a certain amount of sours every so often and things like that. I really do enjoy my my sour beer reviews actually these days. So yeah, as you can see with this one, this is poured a lovely kind of bright, if I put the light through that, this is poured a lovely kind of bright goldeny colour. In terms of its colour, it's probably quite similar, and in terms of its appearance, I would say it's quite similar to like a New England Pale Ale or something like that. It's got a lovely haze to it, so yeah, lovely kind of bright goldeny note. There was about a quarter finger of a frothy white head to this one as it was poured, and you can see there's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of that, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there, and you can see the head has really just faded away by a very thin sort of foamy layer. I really like how that looks actually, and I can tell you something, the fruit that comes off this, the big fruity notes that's coming off this beer already, I think are very inviting. So yeah, let's have a look at that aroma then and see how we get on. You know, sour beers, they can be very diverse in terms of their appearance. The golden ones, you know, in my experience, I think most of the sour beers I've had have always been fruited to some description, so it's quite, I think it's less usual for me to actually have a golden, sort of yellowy coloured one compared to others, but definitely not out with the realms of possibility in terms of appearance and things. But let's have a look at the aroma here and see how we get on. Oh yeah, I remember this, I really do. So yeah, I think I said the last time that the last time I had one of these beers, the aroma that you get that came out of it is really unique. I mean, typically with these kind of farmhouse beers, you'll get this herbally, vegetally, woody kind of mash of things, but the ones that you get from Eik Tid are really it's really very unique. You know, it's almost got this kind of mossy type aroma to it. You know, my mum in our garden at home always had a rockery, and I always remember digging around in this as a wee kid, and you know, it's just it really smells almost mossy. It's so unusual to get that out of a beer. So yeah, that big sort of farmhouse. I don't even know if it's right to call it farmhousey, but you get that earthiness. You get that kind of woody. That woody, just, you know, that raw kind of quality out of it. It's interesting that how it goes together, because I mean, when you think about a malt, you know, when you think about the wort that you actually have when you're homebrewing, I often find that it smells quite sweet. So I do wonder how you go from having that kind of sweet smell to having something that almost smells a little bit like the inside of your food recycle bag. You know, it's interesting like that. It's good, but I mean, it's so strange because you've got this base to it that smells, as I say, like the inside of your food recycling bag, but then you've got other elements to it which are really inviting. You've got the tropical fruity notes, you've got the kind of citricy thing from the lactobacillus and the Brettanomyces, and you've got a wee bit of a kind of grassiness to it as well. So yeah, the Eik Tid beers, it's a really, I think the aroma might be a little bit of a kind of acquired thing for some people, because the thing that it really reminds me of is just the inside of the you know, your food recycle bag where you put your potato peelings and all of this. It really just reminds me of that. But yeah, but in fairness, if you take the aroma in a little bit more deeply, underneath that you do start to get the kind of smooth woody sort of things out of it. You get the nice oaky kind of smoothness. It's almost got a little bit of that vanilla note, but then you get the sort of herbally, vegetally kind of things. They are sitting at the sort of back of the nose, and it does almost smell just that little bit kind of mossy. I really do like how that goes together. The aroma, this is very unique, and in fairness, one of the things I can say about that, the sort of farmhousey side of it, it does get a little bit less harsh the more that you smell of it. It's definitely, when you first kind of take it in, it is a slight bit of an assault on the senses, but once you, and I think this is something that's specific to Eik Tid, because I don't remember, I've had you know, sour beers from a lot of places these days, but I don't remember any of them having aromas quite like this one. But it really smoothens out very nicely the further that you go into the aftertaste, into the once your nose adjusts to it. I'm talking about aftertaste already. I've not tasted the beer, so yeah, it's really interesting. It's really spicy, mossy, grassy kind of thing that that comes out of this one. So yeah, I like how this. I do like how the aroma of this goes together. On top of that, you do get a little bit of grassiness from the hops, like I was saying. You get that sort of sharp, lemony, citricy type thing that you'd expect from lactobacillus and Brettanomyces. And otherwise, the fruitiness, I mean, there's a wee bit of a sort of apricot-y thing in there. It's got a wee bit of sharpness to it as well. Could it be peach? I've always found peach was a little bit sharp. But yeah, I think lemony, apricot-y. Is there a bit of a kind of peary, apple-y thing in there as well? Yeah, so I'd say peary, apple-y, lemony, citricy, a little bit of a kind of apricot-y, and a wee bit of a, how do you say, yeah, there's a wee bit of an almost kind of peachy aroma coming out of this one, I think, actually. So yeah, take a little bit of time and just enjoy that fruity side of the aroma too. The focus is obviously going to be on the sort of farmhousey side of it. That really dominates the aroma, and everything else is a sort of subtlety. But yeah, it is quite nice. So be aware that these beers do smell quite unusual. But trust me, from my previous experiences, they do taste pretty damn nice actually. So let's have a taste of this one and see how we get on. Then this one is the Krypto, a 6% sour ale from Eik Tid in Oslo in Norway. This one's brewed with lactobacillus and Brettanomyces, and they add some aged hops to it as well. So let's have a taste. Sláinte, skål. That's really nice. That is good. Yeah. Yeah, it is one of these things, as I say, don't be put off by the aroma of these beers. I mean, I could see why some people might be, to be honest with you, because I still find it, after 2,100 odd beer videos, I still find the smell of these Eik Tid beers a little bit kind of unusual, but they do taste very, very good. This is a really, the first impression I have of this one, this is a really, it strikes me as a very kind of juicy, drinkable sour actually. This one's almost like a kind of sessionable thing, and I mean, I would never consider sour beers as sessionable. For me, these are tasters in the same way that like an imperial stout is or something. I enjoy the sour beers as a treat, you know. I did find when I went to Mykolabalhallen, the sour beer celebration, the sour beer festival, I did find that festival quite hard because you're just tasting and tasting and tasting lots of different sour beers. Whereas I'd rather have a bottle of one and kind of appreciate it fully. For me, these are definitely treat beers, kind of sippers, tasters, if you like. In the same, I'd treat these in the same way as I would like an imperial stout or a barley wine or a nice big Scotch ale or something like that, you know. I really like this though. This gets a thumbs up from me. I never said to you as well, this one was released in Sweden on the 27th of March 2020 through the Tillfälligt assortment. That's when we got this one. Yeah, this is really nice, and the way that the sourness comes out in this, it gives the beer this lovely kind of juicy feel. I really like how that all goes together. So yeah, it really is quite nice how that all plays out. Let's try and break this one down then. So I mean, straight away in the middle of your palate you can feel that kind of oaky smoothness, that sort of blankets the middle of your palate there, but it's almost like the oakiness in this beer, it has a little bit of an almost kind of spiciness and almost a little bit of dryness to it. The sort of farmhousey notes are sitting towards the back of the palate. You really do get that kind of herbally, mossy, vegetally kind of thing. That sits sort of at the back of your palate there, and then the sweeter aspects, such as there's a little hint of vanilla there. If you go forward on the tongue, you do get a little bit more of a kind of vanilla quality there, and that really comes out more into the aftertaste actually. Yeah, I like how this, I really do like how this all kind of pieces together. The flavours in this beer, really, it is all about how they kind of just interlink. I mean, it's not, this, by no means is this the kind of most complex beer that you're going to come across, and I think generally I find that in the sour beers the flavours are quite simple. It's for me, the sour beers are more about how it makes the transition from being very sharp in the beginning, how it smoothens out, and then how it sweetens up later. That's what the sour beers are all about for me. They're not supposed to be stupidly complex like some of these imperial stouts. They are supposed to be nice kind of transition beers and things. That's what I really like about them. So yeah, when you take this one in, it's got a good impact to it. It really is a little bit puckering in the beginning, but then the way it just kind of juices up, it really gets quite wet very quickly, this one, which is interesting. The impact of this beer is what makes it really quite quirky in my mind. So yeah, when you take this one in, quite sharp on the front of the tongue, then it just sort of washes, it just goes right across the kind of middle of the palate there. But yeah, you can feel the sort of oaky and sweeter qualities just kind of pushing their way out a little bit more the further you go into the aftertaste. The raw kind of malt base in this one. The raw wort, if you like, really gives it that sort of amplifies the sort of almost mossy, woody, herbally type flavours. I don't even know, I think herbal's maybe not the right word. It is more kind of vegetally and vegetally woody and sort of mossy, if you like. It's a really strange thing to try and describe to you, but the way that this beer kind of juices out and smooths out into the aftertaste is really what makes it. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate you get a little bit of earthiness there, and as you come further forward along the sides of the palate that really smoothens out. You've got a wee touch of a floral quality at the front corners of the palate, then round the front curve of the tongue it's a little bit lighter and grassy, and then behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get some of these nice juicy fruity esters coming out of from the hops, and you've also got that kind of tart note from the citric, the lactobacillus kind of thing. So let's look at that now. So yeah, when you take this one in, you do get that sharp, tart, citric kind of thing coming out of it. And then it juicens up very nicely. I mean, the further you go into the aftertaste with this one, there is a little bit of that kind of appley sharpness, a little bit of a peary juiciness as well. And behind that, you do get, I think there is a wee bit of like a peachy, apricot-y sort of thing. I don't know if peach is quite the kind of right descriptor for it, actually. I don't know if it's quite sharp enough to be peach, actually, but I do get a little bit of a kind of apricot-y kind of note to this one. Could it be a little bit of papaya or something like that? There could be a little bit of a sort of papaya-ish, apricot-y kind of note to this. I don't know, I'm not convinced overly that it's sharp enough to be peach. It did come across quite peach-like in the aroma. But yeah, I would say that the fruitiness out of this beer, you've got that lemony, citricy sort of thing, which is just the sour kind of components of the beer. I think, do you call that tannins? I can't remember. But yeah, you do get that really sharp lemony, citricy kind of thing, and then you get the sort of you get that little bit of appley sharpness in there as well, the sort of appley vinegary type thing. But the vinegary note in this is really not a thing. The you know, good sour beers sort of minimise that, and this one really does. But you get a little bit of that kind of peary sort of thing, and then further in, if you go further back from the tip of the palate, you start to get the a little bit of the kind of apricot-y, papaya and almost peachy type flavours out there. This is a really nice sour beer, this one. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, and I mean, I said the same about the Mosaic. I really enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that beer. Yeah, this really is very, very good, this one. I really wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, actually. Big thumbs up to Eik Tid for this one. In terms of the mouthfeel and stuff then, I would say this one, it strikes me as quite a light-bodied sour, but it's probably pushing into the kind of the bottom end of mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite smooth on this one. It does give you the impression of being a little bit more crisp. Yeah, there is a wee bit of crispness to this beer, and you've also got how do you say? You do also have a nice little bit of just juiciness to this. It really is a very kind of juicy and wet sour, I think. So yeah, in terms of IBUs and bitterness, I'd be surprised if you've got more than like 15 or 20 out of this. But yeah, the middle of your palate is really smooth. There's a little bit of dryness at the back of the palate from the more kind of herbally type qualities that I was talking about that the beer has. You've got a little bit of a you do have a little bit of a sweetness. There is a bit of a kind of sweetness and smoothness towards the front of the palate. You start to get a wee teeny hint of vanilla out of this one, I think, but that's very, very minimal. You've got a little bit of the hoppy bitterness, and say, like I say, 15-20 IBUs. You don't want these to be too high in IBUs, obviously, because that, you know, kind of destroys a lot of the thing. I mean, I wonder at what point in the boil and things like that they add the hops in this, because they are using old hops, so you don't get the same level of bitterness out of them. But then dry hopping, I mean, dry hopping doesn't add bitterness to to these beers. So I do wonder exactly at what point they would add the hops into this. But you've got a lovely kind of fruity tartness to this beer, but then it smooths out and gives you the kind of more juicy things as well. But the way that this beer kind of wettens up after you take it in, I think is the kind of really unique sort of, pardon me, quirky point about this. So yeah, I think this is a really, really nice sour beer. As I say, the sours I've been getting very into over the last little while, thanks to, you know, Brewery Notes originally, and then Chris Contreras sending me some ridiculous beers from Belgium, and of course the IPAs and stuff that he sent from America as well. But yeah, this one really is very, very nice. I was a bit surprised actually that I didn't see Eik Tid at the Mikkelbalhavn festival, but I mean it was the first year that they did it, so it might expand over the next few years to get more and more breweries actually. So yeah, we'll need to see how that goes, but I do recommend that at least once you go to the Mikkelbalhavn Sour Beer Festival. That really is worth it. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Krypto, a really lovely, bright kind of sour beer from Eik Tid in Norway, who I think will be they are up and coming at the moment, but it'll be nice to see how these guys progress over the next few years. Like I said, if you're interested in Norwegian sour beers, you will see, I think it's Lindholmen Brewery, you'll see me review them in a couple of videos time, so keep an eye out for that, and you will hopefully see your Norwegian beers quite regularly on the channel over the next little while. But thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Eik Tid as well. Do give me some Norwegian brewery recommendations. If you're watching from Norway and you could help me sort of facilitate some more Norwegian beer reviews, I'll send you some money and things like that. If you guys can organise it, that's another thing that I would be very, very interested in. Drop me a message through the channel Facebook page and things, and maybe we can sort that out. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Make sure you check out Eik Tid from Norway, and if you want to see more reviews, do consider subscribing. Until the next time, Slander just now, and I'll catch you guys there. This was the Krypto, a 6% sour ale with Brettanomyces, Lactobacillus and some aged hops from Eik Tid in Oslo, Norway. Slanja, skål, cheers.